I'm Ashton Marcus from Broadway World, and I'm here with
AJ Holmes.
Great. And which character did you play?
I played Dr. Frankenstein.
What's your take on Dr. Frankenstein?
He is a completely socially repressed mad scientist. He always wanted to be a mad scientist, only he didn't believe it. You know, he suppressed it for so long, but he finally popped.
Great. Could you also say something about yourself, brief bio, introduction, or just anything you want to say?
Yeah, so I'm a songwriter, a composer, and I love getting back to my musical theater roots. After touring with this show 11 years ago for 9 months on the Non-Equity Bus and Truck Tour, it's a pleasure to bring it to La Mirada.
Great. If my viewers come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to laugh their, pardon my French, their tuchuses off. They should expect full belly laughs all the way through. The ball never drops. The cast is amazing. There's dancing, there's spectacle, there's pyrotechnics. It's just a good night out.
Great. Basically, how do you play your character, Dr. Frankenstein, different from, say, how some other actor would play it?
Well, I take great inspiration from the master, Gene Wilder. He's the best. He always has been, and he always will be. But really, you just take the spirit of the humor more rather than trying to do an impression of a god. You know, so I just bring my heart and soul to it and let the comedy speak for itself. I try to get out of the way. You know, the writing is so simple and beautiful and stupid, silly, funny, which is my favorite kind of funny.
I usually don't find that many composer actors out there. I mean, it's very difficult being a composer. Very intellectual. It's like, you know, you study your entire life to do that. But also acting is very difficult. And they don't seem to actually match. Is that true? I mean, how do you manage to balance it?
Well, I guess my process for both things comes from improvisation. I did a lot of improv in high school, and I got into composing because we needed an improvising accompanist to sort of make up songs that, along with the improvising actors. So I started doing that. I got better and better at piano, and then I realized that I had this other skill that I could bring to bear. And with acting too, it all comes from the well of being in the present moment and making the people around you look great. So whether I'm acting a song or composing a musical theater song, I'm getting inside the head of the character and sort of letting that stream of consciousness flow.
My feelings about this play, first of all, I loved it. I thought it was really, really funny. I loved the way you guys acted too. Thanks. You guys missed out a little bit though. This actually had an underlying theme of disability to it. There was a blind actor there was a blind character who was played by a sighted actor.
Yeah.
There was actually a man who was missing an arm and a leg, also played by, think of the monster too.
Absolutely.
The monster was born kind of different, and at the end it kind of worked out. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think these are the kind of questions that were not being asked when Mel Brooks first wrote this, you know? I think it's very much leaning into the slapstick element of things and isn't really considering the real world implications of the lives, of the realities these characters would play out. It's all very much in the realm of pastiche. But I do think you're right. There's a beautiful story of self-acceptance that the monster finds, especially in the way he falls in love with Elizabeth, and in the way that the blind hermit really grapples with loneliness, which is the great unifying factor in the human condition. Though it's tongue-in-cheek and slapstick, but he's saying we're talking lonely here. Sometimes I hear an owl. That's all I got. I mean, he's really, truly, so lonely that he is more open than your average human. He is willing to forge a connection with somebody who you can only assume is mute and large but he's open to it because of his desperate, lonely state. So I do think it takes those essential human conditions and just plays them out comedically in a beautiful, beautiful way.
Well, I think you got. First of all, even though it's not being played by disabled actors, I actually do think this serves a point because like Charlie Cox is not blind, even though he plays Daredevil, but we want to see disabled people. I mean, even if they're being played by sighted actors, we want those characters. You want the monster to resolve its conflict. You want Dr. Frankenstein to resolve his conflict. You want that to happen, even though it's not not serious, because this is a comedy, it's a farce, right?
Sure.
But the story was still there, and if you listen to it, you're not just listening to some funny comedy. You're actually listening to the people who actually find make themselves whole at the end.
Yes, absolutely. And I think so many theater companies these days are pushing in that direction. Deaf West is amazing. I've done some work with Collab in New York City that does, I saw a beautiful performance with a deaf actor who was doing it in performance in sign language along with a singer. Some of the most incredible, moved me to tears, honestly, incredible storytelling, incredible acting. And I think when those things can combine in productions, it's a beautiful, magical thing. But I also think, we shouldn't inhibit ourselves from allowing actors to be actors and play parts that are disabled or are whatever else, because it's important that as humans you stretch your imagination to be someone who's different than you. That's part of how we cultivate empathy, and representation does matter regardless of whether we're playing that or a person actually from that community plays that part. I think it's beautiful both ways.
Oh, I love your performance. I thought your character was disabled too. You're very intellectual as a composer. Maybe you found yourself in this. Maybe you found healing and all that. But I really love your performance tonight.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, he's definitely got some kinks to work out, and I relate to that mentally, So I mean, don't we all? But yeah, thank you very much. I had a great time.
Thank you once again for being on the show.